Hey, hello everyone. It's Amani, the Amani and Amani's vibe, live from my Samsung voice recorder with my thoughts on Love Island and the royal dumping before actually witnessing the royal dumping.
Ooh, yeah, Amani. I look into my life and pop culture vibes. Welcome to Amani's vibe. That's the space that I provide. Yeah, at Amani's vibe. Love Island, USA, and writing stories my own way. That's my Amani's vibe.
I'm away and have to look at it on my tablet. Um, yeah, I often don't see the show till the next day, and then I'm not online at all. So I've only been online to try to catch the first look, and then if I can, somebody that I followed to try to get a clip of something, but I'm rarely online right now. Just focusing on my recovery. But I enjoy watching the show just as I always have. And I enjoy watching it without the online discourse, which seems to be if I just glance at the first look on Instagram, I don't look at it there though. I prefer to try to catch it on YouTube. But if I glance there and then just like, oh, let me see what people are saying in the comments, I'm usually I'm usually in disbelief of just how editing or things can have people change their mind about people so fast. I mean, it's been going on forever, but it still is so bizarre to me because I'm watching the same show as everyone else without all the bias. So you really get that here. My takes, they should always be different because I'm just watching the show. If I do listen to anyone else, there's just a couple people. It'll be after I've kind of recorded my thoughts. So I think what stood out to me about movie night part two, because I had wondered like, will Kenzie and Sincere get a reckoning? What stood out to me, and I'm gonna go back and listen after to the music that they played for KC and the Black people versus the music that they played for Kenzie and Sincere. And that's just something because the music is such a major character in this show as well. Like I'm always like, there are four characters: the villa people, the villa people, the audience, you know, the producers slash editors, and the music is the fourth character. But of course, Ian Sterling, of course, um, his background commentary adds a lot. And sometimes, like, he's so funny. He's also quite slick sometimes. So even sometimes what he says does give you a bit of a hint of something. I'm really trying to distract myself right now from how much this I got a hip replacement, and just how much it's itching, if I might overshare, underneath the bandaging and everything. Yeah, it's all stapled and everything. I took a picture of it. It's really gross. Um, I looked at it. I don't know why. Anyways, so that I read that that's normal though, as it's healing. This is part of it. So there's nothing. I'm distracting myself by just talking into my recorder about the show. So yeah, what stood out to me about movie night part two was how soft and nice it was. for Kenzie and Sincere, and I do want to go back. I might even pause and and check the music for Casey's part and Anaya. Yeah. So I actually paused to go back um, and listen to the music that they played. And it's very subtle. And maybe because I'm in film and TV and theater, and even when I'm doing my pieces, I worked on creating music as my background music, or um, even the music that came with my phone when I would post. I really love it. It's some of the things. It's just a simple beat because there's copyright rules, and I'll have music over something that existed before. But sometimes if it's a piece that I'm doing like this, I might have music that's a certain tone underneath it to set the mood. So that's something that I actually think about. And then because I worked in radio for years, I probably listen to things differently. And even the way I'm doing these pieces, it's literally more that so that people can listen, um, which is like you did in radio. So one of the things that they did do, and I wondered if it was true, was underneath Casey's and Corbin scenes, like the black people, it's a hip hop beat. It's a subtle, it's not like hardcore gangster or anything, but it's definitely a hip hop beat with like bass and drums and everything. And anybody who, if you study music or anything like that, you'll know that. Well, this is a thing also too in race relations. When you teach equity, diversity, and inclusion work or race relations work, that's actually a workshop that one of my friends in Nova Scotia did one time, and it's something I'm very aware of when you watch shows that have people of a certain ethnicity, what the background music is. In this case, it's subtle, but you'll be surprised at how that music affects your mood. And even when people watch a show, you'll always see them ask about the song. Like there are songs that stay in my head from the other season because there's this like kind of sad music that they play. And I would even like sing it a bit when I was doing my think piece. So in this case, yeah, there's like it's like a gangster, subtle hip hop beat. That's when Corbin talks. That's under Casey's scene. So for part two, same thing. As it started, because it was dealing with Corbin, and then it switches to Kenzie, and then they're like, "What was I made for?" Then it switches to the song from the Barbie movie. All nice. Where did it end? All the enjoyment. I'm sad again. Like what? So that is gonna change your mood watching it. It's gonna make you feel more empathetic towards Kenzie, even though she was running wild like Corbin. And I just wanted to actually go back and listen to that just to make this point, okay? Because when when it was time for Kenzie and Sincere's reckoning, I was like, everything, the lighting, the music, the way they clip the scenes is all meant to make you as the audience feel a certain way. And that's what I noticed when I peep into the comments. I'm like, why are people so angry at Anaya? Why are people going off on Casey? Why? Like, because I'm just watching this show as a show. And then I definitely, my investment doing commentary and enjoying this show is not my life. My real life at the hospital. My real life, like, I've just been trying to get better with my post-concussion syndrome so I can work again. And I've been enjoying creating pieces from my bed, and and really enjoying this channel and finding different ways of storytelling. And that's what I like about being a YouTuber. You know what I mean? I did a piece on that, but as far as my personal life, the only thing is that nobody that I know watches the show. So I will talk to them about it. And I know they just basically think I'm crazy. From church folk to just friends, there's only one other person I know that watches the show. Um, yeah. So I don't have anybody to kind of like to ask questions to, vibe off of anything. And then I have the couple of reviewers that I always tell y'all that I'll watch or listen to. One reviewer I listen to, it's not that I like what she has to say, but I'm just like, what? Sometimes I've listened to other people because I don't even understand what they're seeing because I'm watching the same show and now there are 5,000 people talking about this show. And I'm just wondering, how do you find so much deep things in these people that you don't know? Because I'm just being real, y'all. I watch a show, I enjoy it. I I don't have deep analytical theories, but I can I can watch a show. You learn things about people watching it, and then from my background, there's things I'll pick up on, but it ends when I log off and I turn off my TV, then I'm back to my real life. You know, Touching grass is very important. I'm always going to talk about that. I learned that from the Gen Zs. I learned the terms touching grass, crashing out. I learned that in season 6. Um, but yeah, so back to movie night 2. I I was like, there's just so much soft romantic music going on throughout the whole show. And then Bryce just became a central character. And that's when I made the poster that was like, is this Love Island or One Tree Hill? I don't know why One Tree Hill came to mind, but it is a TV series that I watched probably years after it was even on. And I just watched the whole thing. Like all of this probably during my concussion time. I watched so much TV and shows that I'd never seen before. And One Tree Hill was one of them. And something about Bryce, I don't know. That's all that came to mind was that show. I was just like, why does the movie night feature Bryce? Like, Bryce was the main character up for the movie night. Like, out of all the things that were happening and the people getting upset about things, Bryce was on my camera, was on my TV or on my screen, on my Samsung tablet, literally all the time. And I was like, why? And why is he narrating everything? Why is Bryce giving everybody advice? Why is Bryce narrating the storyline? Why is Bryce the central character? So then it lets me know that the show, they like Bryce and they want people to like Bryce because people are questioning if him and Trinity are real, if he's real. I never questioned any of that. And I also never thought that him and Zach were having a relationship. I understand what the producers and the editors do, so that was never a thing for me. But with Bryce, I had done I remember I was a Bryce stan initially because I looked him up about his music, his DJing, and his stuff. His music's really good, and I've said this way back. So before y'all discover it, listen to my earlier pieces. He's quite a good DJ. And he's a really good producer. He produced a really good song, and that's been his livelihood and what he's been doing for years. So if people are going to then start saying like, oh, Bryce, he wants to be like Nick, he's a model and a DJ, he's been doing that, and it had nothing to do with Love Island. So I'm just letting y'all know that. So then I kind of strayed away from him because I just didn't, I was like, what is happening? Plus he wasn't featured as much, and the way every time he talked, for me it just felt so calculated. Like he was like, there, what is our story? So this show, then I just noticed how he was featured way too much. But I could see from the outside looking in that they're definitely the producers, the editors, and I feel like Ariana being a part of this show has a lot to do with things that happen. Nobody can tell me any different. I watched her in season 6 and I know that she is biased and she will do what she can. And I actually like that about Ariana as the host. I saw somebody say, like, why is she there? And it's like, if they actually really watch the show, I go, she's the other central character. It's more than her just walking in. It's the tidbits that she says. It's the questions she asks. If you really paid attention to her, it's quite different to the other ladies that hosted this show prior to. I did really like the very first host. I can't remember her name now, and I always like Matthew, the guy. Tonight, Love Island, but Ian Sterling. No, no insult to you, Ian. I realized that it was ITV and the British, so they wanted to have continuity between the UK shows and America, right? So I got that. But yeah, I feel that I always look at the show based on the editing too, because that always tells me a lot. So that told me that what was going on with Casey, Corbin, and things like that, the amount of times they brought all those men in and all those things were happening, let me know that behind the scenes that the producers were not pleased with the actions of these men and they really wanted Melanie and Anaya and who else? I'm not looking at notes or anything, but they really wanted them to have more of a choice. That's what I got when they brought all those men off the boat. I was like, and then people were calling, then they were mad that they didn't keep all the black men. And I'm like, were they just, and I'm black, y'all. I'm Afrocentric as they come. Were they supposed to keep them just because they were black and muscular? Like, is that all it takes? No, it has to be about conversation. Oh my goodness. And I like Ronnie, who looks like Speedy, the journalist. I liked him, but the way he talked to Melanie was, you're so cute. You're so, yeah. He had more of a personality with Jen, but she wasn't attracted to. What can you do if you're not attracted to people, right? You can't fake the funk. Some people can, but I feel like that is one thing I do like about this cast is everybody's real in their own way. So yeah, those were kind of my thoughts with the One Tree Hill Night. Was like, why is it so sappy? Why are they making everybody resolve their problems? Like Anaya and KC, problem resolved. Why are they making Kenzie, you know, look good? Why is everybody having a happy ending at the end of the show? I was like, what is this? And I'm a very positive person, but I'm like, that show was way too sappy for even me. For even me, Miss Clean Cut, don't swear, your kids can actually listen to my channel. I was like, what is this sappy, everybody has to get along, we're all great in the villa? It was too contrived for me. Movie night 2, after the movie night, everything was too contrived. Everything. Like Casey and Anaya talking and everybody talking and Bryce being the, like, I don't know, the interpretive psychiatrist or psychologist of the villa for everything. Well, you just have to say this. Yes, I'm sure she'll understand if you. I was like, okay, we get it, producers. Y'all like Bryce. I'm like, okay, he's been redeemed. Okay, we no longer think that him and Zach are together. And I actually believed in him and Trinity building what they were building. They didn't really show it. So I wasn't somebody that, I never thought Trinity was faking anything. I liked Trinity from the jump and knew she had a sarcastic sense of humor and was like, she was feisty. So I knew that when the show started. So those were my thoughts on the movie night. Now, so it's the final dumping night, and I haven't watched all the way to who they get rid of, but I have watched the show so far. And I had talked about this already. I'd already said that I call him Clark. That's my brain that does that. That Carl was a real man, that he went there to get his girl. So I didn't think that anything Anaya did was going to be a turnoff. Plus, these edited scenes where you see them arguing, you don't even know how many other scenes they watched or how many times before it even got to that point. We just see a clip. So that is one great thing about reality TV and its ability to actually manipulate the audience into feeling a certain way. I mean, like, it's they're great at it. um but but I so this show, so last night's show, that I didn't watch last night, but I just watched now early this morning. Gall, the gall of gall. I really like Jen. She was such a quiet character for a bombshell, but she knew what she liked. She said what she said. She wanted people to yearn for her or whatever was going on. But I like her personality because she was strong. She was quiet but strong. So I really, really like her personality. Um, Caleb, the cowboy, I think, yeah, what started to resonate is how young he was. Now, Kenzie kept saying it and making a point of it, and there are different variants of this age of 22 or 21 on this show. And he just seemed young and inexperienced with talking to women, and that's what seemed to come across. Not from Kenzie, but just from his lack of connections after. But I do think there are other people that he liked, but he just was too shy to approach whoever those people were, because he definitely likes some flavor. And I like Caleb, but yeah, he's just sort of there. And so they really showed that with his I and I'm sorry, young lady, I don't remember your name, but you know, Blondie that was first with Corbin, and Corbin was bored and traded her for Parameter. And yes, I call her the Parameter. So in this show now, she's letting Caleb know that he has to do more. Like, stop asking people for advice. Talk to me. Stop talking to everybody else. And her saying that actually made it apparent, like, yeah, that was something he did. He'd always be whispering, like, are they kissing? What's happening? As opposed to talking to the person. So that seemed to be a thing. So, like I said, this show, I think it's almost like the theme of this show, I would call it like from the Villa frat boys to men would be the theme of what is going through, um, what is the thorough line of the experiences that everybody is actually growing from this show. So that's what came out of all the sappiness to me, is like people are being forced to talk, they're being forced to do more. There's less of just bombshells and all kinds of the craziness that I don't even like anyway. And there's been more about communication, relationship building, toxic relationships. So yeah, Melanie and Sincere, um, I don't know, like it's he reminds me of Leo. I can't fathom if they're gonna last or not. Like, Sincere knows that he's a mess. He knows, like, I lie, but it's not all a lie, just some of it's a lie. If you take a half a cup of water and you boil it to the point, but it only boils halfway, then you still have warm water. That's what it sounds like when he talks. If the sky is blue, but then a blue light shines on it, then that's just a shining blue light. But it could be a bluebird, and it's the epitome of bluebirdiness. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is he saying? I don't know. He's so cute, like trying to be a philosopher, but I don't know because he has to. I don't know about Sincere and Melanie. I just really like Melanie. I don't know if I like Carl for Melanie, actually. I don't know if there was anybody there that I saw Melanie with. You know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, I can't wish for people to come back on the show. Like Sean would have been such a great experience to continue seeing him on the show, but he's happy where he is. And I hope he gets like some really great deals, like with Pampers and things with his son. Because that's so cute. But yeah, Melanie and Sincere, I really don't know. I know that Sincere, he's going to have to do a lot to prove, not just to her, but also to the audience, right? But I don't know. And then with the dumping tonight, I'll get to that part. I don't know. I can't remember the beautiful young lady's name either. The new young black lady. So she really did connect with. Well, Sincere has a thing. He connects with everybody. You saw him with Soul. Soul is the one that, to me, looked very authentic, very real. Not so much about lust, but very ethereal, very, very deep. What Sincere has with Melanie is their background, their ethnic background, being from Philly. I've been saying they need to go check their family tree. They have those commonalities, which are really great. I don't know if it's enough for a relationship, right? And to me, it's not about the lust part. The friendship part is so important, but Melanie is more mature than Sincere is. I can't remember their ages now, but she's got her stuff together and she knows what she deserves, and she knows that going back to him is settling, and she knows she's going to go back. So that's a thorough line too. Like I already knew that was going to happen. Will they last? From what I see from the beginning to now, I don't think so. I just don't think so. Sincere just has so much growing up to do. And if this show is enough, then maybe that's how I feel. Anaya and Carl, because of how strong Carl is, and I do think the guy should really like the women more. It's a thing. It's a thing the older generation says. And somebody explained it to me years ago because I always heard it. Make sure the man loves you more. And I was like, what? But I do. That's why I really like Carl and Anaya. And like I said, I've never been in an interracial relationship. I don't know. but the relationships that I see building on the show have all come so naturally, like Bergie and Taylor. I'm always like, do people forget that like Taylor's mixed? But go ahead, Bergie. But yeah, so I think they have the potential as long as she works on her anxiety and things like that. But the type of man that he is, the type of career he has with them, as I said in my piece, Love and Volleyball, it's just going to be about them figuring out the distance, what they do after. Carl's established career, business, everything. But I love that he's a world traveler, and I love that Anaya wants to travel. I think they are really a great match on paper. And so seeing that, the chemistry of them building naturally has really been awesome. Casey and TT. Casey's still one of my favorites. I can't be just hating people. He completely threw me off, but not in that way. When I said I was wrong about him, I was just like, is he is he I was like, what's his background? Like, was he like, he was like, did he grow up in a strict type of environment? I know he talked about being responsible for other people. So I just felt it was like Casey Unleashed, Casey gone wild. I was like, what is wrong with him? And he was under the spell of Corbin. Like, it was this whole fraternity thing. It was very unhealthy. So I'm glad that he was able to see himself and recognize that. TT reminds me of, I can't remember her name. Destiny, yes. Destiny, the biologist. That's who she reminds me of. She was on season 5 and she was the chemist. And I'm going to get a picture and put the two of them together. Sorry, girl, because I still follow her, but she reminded me of her look. Um, but I know that she's been on Deshae Frost. I know she was on the streamer world. I know about the streamer world because I'm writing a play where my one of my characters is a streamer. So I've had to learn about DDG, Deshae Frost, Rakai, Jay Cinco, all of them, right? I've had to kind of delve into that world. And then Deshae Frost is, I have no words, a character. His sister's amazing, and they have the little his baby sister is on a show now. But Deshae is quite a character, and I think it's Deshae's live stream that she was on, which is insane if you get into that world. But it's normal. Yes, they're trying to be influencers. They're trying to, so I don't know what her niche is outside of this. I have not done a deep dive into her. I have seen, because it popped up on YouTube, that TMZ is trying to, I saw how they're trying to bring her down already, which is what this show does too. But whatever crime she was convicted of was a long time ago, and they did the same thing to Kada. They're trying to earmark these people as bullies and violent. And so I watch it, Kada's half Haitian, right? TT is black. I see that stuff because it pops up. I'm not looking for it. But and I see because people are being kicked off the show for making racist remarks and making racist videos and those types of things. And those were also years ago, but it's like so different. It's they're both wrong. So it would be the same thing if if they had the black people also involved in really bad um you know behavior that involved dominating and being cruel to people of other cultures. I would feel the same way that they should not be on the show. But trying to earmark somebody as a bully because they fought in school or like, I kind of don't get that. And I even have thoughts on the people that are getting kicked off the show, but that's a whole other topic. So we'll leave that one alone. But I hope the show just continues to do due diligence because the parasocial fans, the detectives of Love Island, will find every and anything. Okay. Who's left now? Who's left on this show that matters to me? So Dylan crying, I don't know what to say. I told y'all about Kenzie. Kenzie's a praying mantis. Don't look into Kenzie's eyes. Do y'all see what happens? Just don't look into her eyes. It's like she puts people in a trance. But Kenzie's great TV. I don't know. Every time I say her name, I laugh. I'm not being lustful. And I even made up a speech that she said, and that's actually what she said. I hadn't seen the show yet, but I do think this show has really made her look at herself, and she took it really well. And it's hard. It's hard to be accountable. And she wasn't defensive. And she really liked Corbin. That hurt her. You know, she really liked the swirl. And that's what sent her also spiraling a bit. But I don't know if her and Dylan will last. Is that his name? I don't know. Gull, well, Gull got some gall, so he can't fake the funk. He didn't come off good at all. From the I he was not, and I thought his name was Gal, so I was not a Gal pal. Okay, I was like, I don't get it from the jump, but okay. Um, has he grown on me a little bit more? A tad, a tad, but him, him, yeah, that's all I have to say there. Anyway, so now I'm going to get to the dumping. So basically, what happens, what I've seen so far, is that Jen doesn't have a couple. Everybody gives her lovely little speeches. Corbin's like, I met somebody. I finally met somebody that's just as sexy as me. Come here, girl. Come here, parameter. Be my woman. Yeah, so that happened. Um, I like what everybody had to say. I like that Casey's like growing up, that how he expressed himself, but he has to also learn to not cower to women, like, so he's learning. Um, so Gal, they were making it seem as if he wouldn't be able to choose between Jen and the other young lady, but I already knew he wasn't going to choose Jen. Like, why would he? Because he told her she was aggressive. He told her all those things that weren't true. It was very bizarre because Jen is so laid back. Yeah. So I already knew that wasn't going to happen. So basically, at the end of the fire pit that I've seen, Jen has been dumped, but she dressed really nice for it. And then Ariana says, "Ooh, one more thing. There's going to be four more people dumped tonight. So that means that a total of five people will be gone. And they need to get people gone because the show ends next week." And I believe Aftersun is tonight. So there isn't a show. And yeah, so they have to get rid of people because the finale is like next week. It's the day I get my stitches out from my surgery. So I'll still get to see Love Island as a distraction from all the other things I'm dealing with. So if it were me, I'll tell you, I'm going to watch it now, but I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen who got dumped. Everybody's talking, well, so and so is this. Now, if it were me and I had to dump two couples, I would dump Kenzie and Dylan, and I would dump Gall and the young lady. I would dump Gall because his character just ain't right. And she's gonna get an agent after this, so I wouldn't be worried about her. That's who I personally would dump. I would personally would dump Kenzie. But this show, when they have the old school people still there, they have a strange loyalty, and they did the same thing with Huda, where the show was trying to give them ways for her to be released, and because they're all friends on the show, they kept voting her in. So I personally, yes, it would be Gal and the young lady, and Kenzie and Dylan. That's who I would dump, because if it's only two other couples. Um, the cast, if I can think into the brains of the cast, they will dump Gal and the other young lady, and who's left? And they will dump Corbin and Parameter. That's what I think. I really be forgetting about Caleb, y'all. So okay, so if it were me, I would dump Gal and the other young lady, and I would dump Kenzie and Dylan. I think the cast, I think they're gonna dump Gal and the young lady, and they're gonna dump Caleb and I don't know what her name is, Jada, and I think they'll dump Caleb because they're gonna look at it as who who has still time to grow. That's who I think they're gonna dump, but I don't know. So you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna watch it, and then I'm gonna let y'all know who gets dumped. Dun, 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 dun. Because ain't no one in this cast dumping Melanie and Sincere, no matter how they feel. Those are my thoughts. But I'm about to find out.
Two couples they think are the least compatible.
Well, I'm back. And
How are you feeling about Melanie?
this is who they dumped. Who I thought the cast would dump is actually who they dumped when I remembered who was actually on the cast. So the cast dumped Gal and Amora, I believe her name is, and they dumped Caleb, and I still don't know her name. That's who got dumped. But the show's going to be really great on Sunday because they going to be fighting. Because people did vote for Melanie and Sincere and a couple and Corbin. Corbin and Parameter voted for Kenzie and Dylan, and Kenzie and Dylan voted for Corbin and Parameter. And I have to remember who else voted for Kenzie. She's like, but that's one of my friends. So it's going to be great TV. And people also voted, and Corbin, it was hard, but he voted for Sincere and Melanie as well. And Parameter, like, she has a good point. Like, yeah, it's definitely toxic. And Parameter's older than Corbin. She sees things differently. And to be honest, I don't disagree. I don't actually disagree with anything people said about Kenzie. You know? She appeared to be flighty. And to just talk to whoever. So I knew Gal was going to go. That's his own fault. So, you know, I'll watch the rest of it now. I just wanted to let y'all know who the cast chose. But I also think there's going to be so much infighting after this for whatever set of eliminations or whatever happens next. And just like a huge thunderstorm just started outside. So thank you so much for listening or watching. You know, I'll have my pictures up. Thank you for being a subscriber. I am trying to get to 3,000. I'm at like 2,700 now. And you know, I post what things I can in between for y'all, and the things that are just easy for me to put up. But I did definitely want to talk about Movie Night Part 2 and about the world dumping. If you're not a subscriber, please, this is Amani's Vibe, where it's always a vibe. So please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Ooh,
And that's what's up.
Amani's Vibe. Welcome to Amani's Vibe. That's the space that I provide. Ooh, no negativity, no lies. Here is just positive vibes. Love Island, USA, pop culture, sports, and telling stories in my own way.